Good night, everyone. I think today's Saturday. Happy Saturday. Welcome to another NBA podcast, of course. I am your host, The Voice. And, with me tonight, we have Cream, we have Devin, and obviously, we have the guy who, unfortunately or fortunately, whichever way you want to look at it, you know, succumb to, lost the debate, right? Lost the debate. But he's here with us. We're going to talk some serious basketball now. How we doing, gentlemen? How we doing tonight?
Yeah, man.
Good,
Right.
good,
Doing
good.
well. Good.
All right. So the first thing I want to talk about, right? And we're going to touch on them because they're actually playing right now and they're getting their butts kicked. I want to talk about Miami. And we see Miami on a 3-game losing streak, about to be four. Last night they played against the Knicks. We're up 17 points in the fourth quarter without Julius Randle, and the New York Knicks came back and beat them. So, Cream, let me start with you. What is happening in Miami? What do you watching as a fan, what do you think is going on in Miami?
It's hard to pinpoint one thing that's happening. They had somebody's out earlier, which you could allude to say, yeah, them a miss Butler, them a miss
Mm-hmm.
Laurie, because
Mm-hmm.
at one point one of those players was either out, even Bambi out for a while too. But now them really have back the group now, but still
Mm-hmm.
it's just not clicking right now for some reason. Yeah, you had
Absolutely.
the little bench altercation between the coach and Jimmy and UD the other day. So there is some disjoint currently in the squad. I know Spurs
Mm-hmm.
was trying to use it as a motivational
It ain't
thing
working.
to
It
get
ain't
them
working.
to get them going, but it hasn't picked up as yet. Like I said, everybody's back now, so I don't know why on the defensive end in the fourth quarter against New York they quickly outscored them like by himself, 20 points.
Very
So the
true.
defense falling off. They're just not playing good right now, which is worrying going into the postseason. Is normally when teams want to play in their best basketball. So it's
Absolutely.
definitely some cause for concern right now in regard to Miami.
Absolutely. All right. So, Devin,
Yo.
uh, it's not only the fact that Miami is losing, I don't know. I'm hearing some feedback from somebody's TV. I don't know. But it's not only the fact that Miami is losing. But look at this. They played against Philly without James Harden, Joel Embiid. They played against they played against the Warriors. No Steph Curry, no Steph Curry, no Draymond Green, no Clay Thompson, and they lost. Now they
New
play
York,
against the Knicks, no Julius Randle, and they lost. What is going on with Miami right now?
All right. So normally with everything comes, I'll just come and tell you what I think and whatever. But all of the topics them today, I go do some form amount of research. So, Vinny caused that. So I went back and watched the post-match conference by the coach, right? So when they asked him about why you think the reason the team is on that losing streak or what's going on, he specifically pointed out like issue with Miami is leadership from the veteran players. Leadership from the veteran players. And then when I said leadership from the veteran players, so you know, he's referring to like Aslam and like Bam and even Jimmy, veteran in the sense that they've been in the league long. But he's saying not getting that veteran leader. He specifically pointed to that. And then when I look at what's going on with Poster and what was said by Jimmy, there's an issue there with in terms of some form of conflict, which is non-basketball. And why I say non-basketball, I'm gonna use the comparison to Boston, right? You remember earlier when they said that Marcus Smart called out Jalen Brown and Tatum, but he called them out on basketball, saying these guys, is like they need to do more, they need to step up more. But you just specifically call him onto basketball. Jimmy Butler is going at these veteran people, including the coach, from a personal standpoint, saying, okay, it's D-Wade make you all relevant. So going forward, I think it's kind of difficult to get beyond that. It's just like when, you had seen with KD and Draymond call him out and say something to him on the court. And people had said even before that KD was planning to leave, but trust me, the way Draymond was dealing with him, it was not going to stay. So I feel like, Kems, it's some internal issues relating to like where it's, to me, it's kind of difficult to get over. I don't like that, and just listen to what the coach was saying, and stuff coming out as to what Jimmy Butler had said. I think it's more than basketball. It's just people going at each other from a person. If you hold me accountable, say, boss, you're not doing this. You're not doing this on the court. It's like you're trying to disrespect me, like from personal standpoint. So I figure that's a problem, and I don't know if they can address it soon enough, but I don't think so. I think it's some big issues there.
All right. Definitely. Thank you for that. So let me get to Vincent now because Jimmy Butler himself.
Mm-hmm.
When we watched Jimmy Butler over his career, remember, in Chicago, it was said that Jimmy Butler wanted to be the man, and instead of D-Rose, left Chicago. Went to Minnesota, had problem with Karl Anthony Towns,
Mm-hmm.
Wiggins, left there, went to Philly, never win anything in Philly. He said, hey, apart from Embiid, essentially, nobody else is serious about playing, serious about winning. All right. Left Philly, went to Miami. We never hear a peep out of Jimmy Butler with internal issues until he got his money. Signed him big contract, 4 years, I think 140 mil, big money coming in, 30 odd mil a year. Tell me now, Vinny, do you think Jimmy Butler is the problem? Or do you think it's a whole internal issue with the Miami Heat?
Um, Jimmy is starting to develop a reputation, and I think he probably needs to be careful because this may end up being his last big contract. And that reputation is, Devin would have explained it in terms of Jimmy seemed to challenge players, and it's more than just challenging them about how they play. Did it in Minnesota, as you said, even in Philly. I understand he did it somewhat there in Philly, even though he was only there for a year, I believe. So I know you started seeing it creeping back in again in Miami. So that seemed to be a problem that Miami will have to figure out. How do they move forward? Jimmy will have to figure out exactly what do I want to do. You can't want to challenge a coach talking about his Dwayne Wade make you. At the end of the day, Coach Spo would have won with Dwayne Wade and LeBron James and these guys, and they did win 2 championships. What is it that Jimmy has won? Jimmy has not won
No.
anything yet in the league. You understand? In fact, I
A
remember
finals
asking you.
appearance in the bubble.
Yeah, I remember asking you the other day, the voice, if Jimmy is a straight up first ballot Hall of Fame, and you said to me, no, there's more that Jimmy needs to do before you could consider him to be a first ballot or even an Hall of Fame player, right? So there is more that Jimmy has to do, and especially even in this season, I know that he has been injuring and in and out of the team somewhat, but I don't believe that
Yep.
he's playing to what we saw when they were in the bubble or even before getting into the bubble. The Miami problem, though, in terms of how they have been losing and what they have been doing this year, most of their
Mm-hmm.
games they have been up, and they always seem to fight in the end of the game in order to win game. They go up big, and by the time you get to the fourth quarter, it is a fight. So there is something that is not being clicking with the team. And with Knicks, they were up 17, as you say, and they end up losing the game. You understand? And if you go back and look at a number of their other games this year, there are a number of the games that they have been up that the teams come right back on them, and they would tend to win by 3 or 4. Um, Hero has been out. I don't. Hero is playing tonight. I didn't look at to see who was in the starting lineup, but I know he
It,
has been out about for about 2 or 3 of those
The,
games. So I mean,
all of
and
the
the
big
other
guns,
thing
all of the big guns out tonight.
are
All of the big
playing.
guns playing
Okay,
tonight.
and the
Yep.
other question I probably need to ask is, who is the closer for Miami in a close game? Who is the closer for Miami in a close game? Is it Bam?
So
Is it
they,
Jimmy?
they
Is it
don't have a,
Kyrie? That
they
is one
don't,
of the problem. If you watch how they play their offense in the fourth quarter and coming into the end of the game, there doesn't
mhm.
seem to be a bread and butter that they go to. And that is going to be a huge problem come playoff.
This is what I said. This is what I said, Vinny, about the closer.
Mm,
I think
mhm,
I think 9 times out of 10, Jimmy Butler
mhm.
taking that shot. The last shot. I
Okay.
think Jimmy Butler will take
Mhm,
it. But other than that, I think it's whoever has the hot hand
mhm,
or whoever in the best position or whoever mismatch. But if game on the line, I've watched
mhm,
Miami go to overtime games and win games,
mhm,
and Jimmy Butler is always the one that's taking the shot.
mhm,
Making it or missing it, that's a total different story. But
mhm.
Jimmy Butler is always the one that's taking the shot. So Cream, let me just ask you a question really quickly because I believe now going to the tail end of the season, that is the point in time you are supposed to start picking up steam, not reversing. And I think Miami right now is reversing. They're playing their worst basketball of the season when you're supposed to be going into a stacked Eastern Conference where anybody you play, no sweeps are happening in the East. There's no sweeps, right? So you're supposed to be locked and loaded and ready. But Miami seems to be reversing. Let us talk about them. They are a number one seed, Cream. Do you think they are number one because one, they probably have been the healthiest team? Because remember, a lot of teams during the COVID time and so giving persons 10 days contract and so Miami was one of the teams I think was least affected, in the East. So do we think that they can retain that number one seed or do you think they will fall down?
one can ask, do they even want to be the number one seed going forward?
I
Because
wonder why.
a lot of the teams up top looking down and seeing that black and white juggernaut down there and be like, do we really want this number one seed? But yeah, they I think they have been affected the least in terms of COVID. And I know the only person that was out for an extended period of time was Bam. Bam was out for
Mhm.
a good while. But otherwise, they had pretty much most of their core players available to them. So I think that may have been a big factor why they are in the number one spot now, coupled with Chicago Bulls dipping form as well because they have been sliding. So I think
But
with those reasons they are in the number one spot right now. But it's that number one spot, whoever ends up being, we're gonna have a really good first round matchup
but
because
All
Cream,
right. So
Miami
hold on there
has.
1 second, Vinny.
Mhm,
Hold
mhm.
on 1 second, Vinny, because I want Cream to answer this one. So Cadlan said Jimmy Butler should have never left Timberwolves. Some moves kill your career. Can we really
Hmm.
look on that, Cream, and say, that move from the Timberwolves killed Jimmy Butler's career?
I don't think so. No, not at all. Because everywhere he has gone to, I think he has still performed as one of the as an all star level. So I think he has still done his bit. He went to a NBA final, right?
Yep.
Even in the bubble. So I wouldn't say him leaving T Wolves kill his career at all.
I think they were saying since 2010 or something. This is the Timberwolves' second winning season since
Yeah.
2010. So I don't think so. Catalan, I don't think this one ruined his career. What I would say, I think if he had stayed in Philly, I think he had probably had a
Yeah.
better chance to. I think he probably would have won a championship already had he stayed in Philly because I think Philly was lacking that edge. Especially when they even come up against the Hawks.
No, but
When Ben Simmons was there
mm,
crawling and acting
no,
like
but
like him don't
no,
want to
but
shoot the basketball. Go ahead.
you can imagine what would have happened between him and Ben Simmons, knowing who Jimmy is.
Yes.
and, what we have come to see are Ben Simmons. I mean, that would have been something serious to see, though, actually. And I was
Yeah.
only saying to Cream earlier, though, that Miami really has had some players out coming down the stretch. You know, Jimmy Butler really has been in and out of the team a lot. I'm not sure what the issue with Kyrie, with Kyle Lowry. He has been out, I think, 7 or 8 games and some personal reason. He came back, played about 4 games, then went out again another 5 or 6 games for personal reasons again. Nobody's saying what that is. And all of that over the last probably 10 to 15 games. I mean, they still have right the ship and have been playing well, but the last 3 or 4 games, in fact, I think they are 4 out of 6 before tonight game. They have lost 4 out of 6. So, I mean, it seemed to be going the wrong direction, right? And I think probably what Devin has said earlier in terms of that veteran leadership, especially at this time of the season, I think that is a major factor.
All right. So, Devin, let me ask you a last question about the Miami Heat before we move on to the next topic. So, Devin, as Vinny spoke about Kyle Lowry, and they say they believe Jimmy made, Cadlad in the comments say they believe Jimmy made a bad decision leaving Timberwolves to the Heat. Do you think the Heat felt like they made a bad decision acquiring Kyle Lowry? Because for me personally, I don't think they have gotten, and I say we can wait to the playoffs and see what he brings in the playoffs. But for the regular season, these are his numbers. He has played 34 minutes. He has averaged 13.1 points per game, shooting 42% from the field, 4 rebounds, 7 assists. So 13, 7, and 4. Would you look at that, Devin, and say, hey, money's worth? I think Kyle Lowry is making, if I'm not mistaken, between 26 and 30 something million a year. So looking at that, do you think Kyle Lowry is worth the money that Miami is paying him, or do you think that Miami got this one wrong?
No, when I look at it, all right, that same question came to my mind the other day. And you know why it came? You know we are betting, man. I saw a game and they were giving Kyle Lowry over on the 9.5 points. And I said, no, man, this is disrespectful, man. This is disrespectful. Kyle Lowry over or under 9.5 in it. That's very disrespectful. I'm saying, I went now and I checked the numbers and I see those numbers that you're saying. I was saying, no, sir. Well, I went to the over, yes, definitely. Because I said, no, that's disrespectful to Kyle Lowry. You know what I mean? To give him over on a 9.5. So I said, let me check the numbers. And I said, wow, for the season, it was like just in the teens. And I'm saying, oh, probably because he's just coming back. They're saying he probably not game shape, game ready or whatever. So well, that's right. I say, you know what? For this trade to be worthy, he has to deliver for them in the playoffs. That's what I could say, for this first season. Because you remember, he can have like a over 20-point season for next season. But for this season, for him to be valuable, I have to see him do something for Miami in the playoffs.
Let me just say about him, James. Let me just say quickly about Kyle Lowry, because I have him in my fantasy team. So as a player with my watch and throughout the season, yes, he has been average. But before he went out that 7 game, he had started to play really well, and Miami had started to really put some victory together, where he was up about 18, going 20 points a night, and with about 10 assists, and he started to play well, and then he went out, and he came back, and then he went out again. So trust me, he has been quite average, I believe, given what he has been paid. And as Kem said, I guess for the postseason, we'll see what what he's going to do. But at the moment, I don't think it's value for money.
All right. And with that being said, let us go ahead. Big up everybody in the comment section. Those who are watching and not commenting. Definitely, talk to us. Let us know. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know if you guys have any questions. I see Pepper Paul saying that watching the Grizzlies now, they are looking dangerous. Trust me, Pepper Paul, they have been dangerous from game 1. From game 1, right? They have been very dangerous. It's a tough team, and definitely we're going to talk about them a little bit later on in the show. But what I want to talk about now is the big news for the New Yorkers over there, right? So, you know, I don't know if Cream is a New Yorker or is a Canadian. I guess it depends on who asks him, right? But listen, so now the baseball community, who I can say whatever baseball boring and so, but them man they do the talking. So the baseball community, you have the New York Yankees, you have the Mets, you have those teams. Those people talk, and all of a sudden, the mayor doing the itch, mandate lifted. Kyrie a ball, KD a ball, Adam Silver a ball. Nobody bats an eye. But baseball coming to the picture, and right away, mandate lifted. So with that being said, now Kyrie is able to play, and I think tomorrow is the first home game that they have. So Kyrie is able to play home games now, and right now, I guess we can summarize that. Hey, Ben Simmons won't be playing this season unless probably Brooklyn make it to the finals. Then probably he can come back. But right now, in the immediate future, we don't see Ben Simmons playing. So Kyrie coming back, right? So we have Kyrie coming back to play home games. KD playing how he's playing. Seth Curry has been in and out. When we look at the Brooklyn team, and let me start with Cream here. Cream, when you look at your Brooklyn team that you jump on the bandwagon, Cream, when you look at them, are you now comfortable and say, hey, guess what? Anywhere Brooklyn finish, I am okay with it because nobody wants to see us? Or do you still think Brooklyn wants to be in a particular seeding to ensure that they get an easy first round matchup?
Now, I mean, they want to finish as high as possible, which probably now would be six. But um, should they finish eighth, it wouldn't be an issue. It wouldn't be an issue for the team because having Kyrie full time now is a big step in aiding their championship charge. Have
Yep.
the Steph Curry addition, the Drummond addition, those fill gaping holes that we had in the roster. So we can slide Bruce Brown to the bench. We have LaMarcus Aldridge coming off of the bench. Dragic, another person that can run the offense, facilitate
Yep.
and score. So
Yep.
we got deeper, I believe, and like I said, the glaring holes in the squad have been filled. So Brooklyn is gonna be a tough out for anybody anywhere in the standings. It's gonna be a tough matchup.
Well, what I say, Cream, let us hope that there is no rioting of the U.S. Capitol. Let us hope that, people don't come out on TV and say, hey, they feel judged by having to take the vaccine. And because Kyrie might want to take a game or two off to address those issues.
Not
So let us
not in the postseason. In the regular season, sure, but not in the postseason.
not all right, all right. I hear you loud and clear. Devin, you as a
Yo,
New Yorker, I know the Knicks not going on with anything. So you say, hell, let me jump over to Brooklyn with the big fire weapon over there. But
yeah,
Devin,
yeah.
when you look at the Brooklyn team, there's been a lot of talk about coaching. They're saying Steve Nash doesn't know how to coach his team. He look like his KD and them calling the shots. His rotation has been poor. His schemes have been poor. Brooklyn is winning more on talent than on coaching. That is one of the main things that have been said out there. So I just want to get your thoughts on what do you think about that? You watching Brooklyn because it shows on your TV regular over there.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
watching Brooklyn. You watching Brooklyn. What do you feel about the coaching one? And now with Kyrie in the picture for home games and away games, of course, do you think that this is now a championship roster?
All right. One thing I didn't like with Nash, right?
Yeah.
So when Kyrie was out, and like even when KD was injured too, you have some guys who play good some nights, and then that man don't play the next night, right? And next man will play good this night, then in tweak the starting night. I'm saying, yo, all right, try go for. Let's see what you're trying to do. Let's try to see. Okay, you work with like a Cam Thomas was scoring. That man was scoring. Then him get rest another night. A next guy named Kessler Edwards come in and some other guy. So there's no clear strategy as to what he was doing. So going forward, we just have to hope like with the talent, it can supersede something. So I want to touch something with the Kyrie though. All right. So
All
just
right.
looking at numbers, because Vinny will need to
Yep.
get some numbers. All right.
All right.
At top. So even though we're excited with Kyrie in the lineup, the team is 8-12, right? Without
8 and
Kyrie,
12, yes.
we are 30-23.
Yeah.
All right. So the key thing with them though, what I like, unlike with the Warriors, I make a comparison with look at Warriors. Everybody was saying KD, my name Klay Thompson came back, right? But
Yeah.
there's not much game that you can find, even though he was out with a serious injury, that KD, that I keep saying KD, that Klay and Steph is scoring and having a good night on the same night, both of them. With KD and Kyrie, you can see both of them go off, and then we have a good scoring. In the last to Memphis, we score 120. Both of them score 78 out of the 120. So scoring is not the problem. The problem with whosoever we face, my issue now is this defense. No disrespect to Memphis. Memphis is playing good, but I see a brother named Bain and Melton, right? Once the man pull up on the three, it's nice. It's like them and God alone. Them and God alone at the line. Both of them 6 from 10. 6 from 10. Both of them combined to be 12 from 20 from the 3-point line. It's like you don't have nobody to guard the perimeter. And that's why I concede to you on this argument that Ben Simmons don't play, Philly win that trade, because the point of getting Ben Simmons was for him to be can guard in those line, those perimeter and be a good guard. Seth can guard fly. You know what I mean? Patty Mills can guard fly. So who you gonna have to be a perimeter threat in terms of guard? Kyrie can't guard either. So that's
only James Harden can guard. Nobody else, but James Harden for sure.
That's the problem there, It's like, yes, they can score, we not got a problem point, but we should be able to stop. The same thing with Tatum. Tatum was going off against us in that game.
Devin, the thing is that teams gonna have to score. Remember, the game against Memphis is just one game in our series.
Brother, we can't outscore everybody. We cannot outscore everybody, Cream.
No, hold on.
Stop some team from scoring, man.
I agree, but man, I say the teams are gonna have to average like 130 against us. Can you do that four times?
No.
Can you do that 4 times?
No.
In our playoff series, it's gonna be different. That's what I'm saying. Than just a one-off game.
It's going to be different on both sides, because guess what, Cream? Only can score 120 for 4 games straight on any team.
Correct.
In a playoff.
We are capable.
Cream, something foolishness. In a playoff game, listen, this is not a blasted regular season. In a playoff game where a team can key in on individual pieces, when the team can say, all right then, guess what? Seth Curry have to beat me tonight. I'm not allowing KD to beat me, not allowing Kyrie to beat me. Seth Curry, Patty Mills, Drummond, who know have to beat me tonight. And I'm sure they're not capable of doing that. Teams will set up schemes. But, come on.
Why is Curry not? Curry is shooting 40% from the 3-point line. Why not? He can go up.
Cream.
What are you saying to me?
Cream. Seth, this is not Seth, Seth Curry.
The better Curry. The better Curry.
So that's my only issue is just the defense.
Defense. Well, yeah, I would agree that the defense needs work.
And let us when you talk about the defense as well, Devin, let us not act like Drummond is a big defender. I know, he grabs rebounds.
Grab the rebound,
but that's about it. When they draw him out and when the other teams go small and they have to guard the perimeter, that's barbecue chicken.
Claxton, when time we have the mobile centers, the perimeter, we can use Claxton.
Yeah, but then when they bring Claxton, then they just go to the paint. So you have to pick your poison, which one you want. That's why I say. That's why I say for the playoffs, matchups is very important. But thank you for that, David. So let me go to Vincent now, because I know Vincent told me that, hey, the Nets won the trade. He was adamant. What is Kristen saying? She's saying no team will stop Kyrie or KD to do what they do in the playoffs. listen,
Exactly.
But we not
listen,
disagree with
Exactly.
that. We not disagree with that. We not disagree with that.
listen, Chris Lynch. Hold on a minute. I'm never question for us, but listen, Chris Lynch. When you talk about, listen, no team is not trying to stop. All right. If you look on, if you remember some games, even in the regular season, what did the teams do? They just double KD. What did KD do? Pass up the ball, pass up the ball, pass up the ball. They trap him, pass up the ball, pass up the ball. So you telling me here, said no team, there are ways, listen, just like how KD and Kyrie are professionals, there are people on the other end who are professionals as well. And I just think that I don't think KD is unstoppable. I think that he can be slowed down, but I don't think you're
What?
going to completely stop him.
What?
What?
What
KD
you
is
mean by what?
unstoppable. KD is
He's not.
unstoppable.
There is no
Do not
player.
come with this foolishness.
There is
KD.
no.
Super,
Where want to get them something here from about
Hold on.
KD
superstar.
unstoppable?
Brother,
There is no player in the league that is unstoppable.
Nobody that
None.
is unstoppable.
None.
You
Like
don't
when
know.
people like when
what,
you
Michael
see people on
Jordan.
TV
Michael
telling
Jordan.
things
Not
this.
in the
what do you
league
mean,
now.
brother?
Not in the league now.
No. Michael Jordan,
We are,
nobody that ever
yo,
play basketball is unstoppable. Nobody.
We get their points.
Skims, we all know say the superstars in the league, what you can do is make it tough for them, but you can't, so the moment you can't stop them.
That is defeat the argument. That is the point. You know, say
It's a point because
the making it tough for them is
they can't
actually
double.
Yeah,
slowing them down. That don't mean say them
but
unstoppable.
them still get them points. That's what I'm
Right,
That's what we are
saying.
right.
saying.
Them still
Like
And
get them
that's what I
30
get
points.
things saying. Yeah, but
Can
you
I can
bother them
I
and slow them down. That they are
can
they
I
are
give
they
you
are
a
right.
Can I give you an example, Kims? Cream. 2015 NBA Finals. LeBron James dominated the NBA Finals in 2015. In the first, I believe, 4 games there, about 3 or 4 games. He was going off, and then Steve Kerr put we named it on him in the third quarter,
Iggy,
in the
Iggy.
fourth quarter, Iggy on him. Iggy didn't stop him, but Iggy slowed him down enough that Golden
Yep.
State could have win the NBA Finals. So you don't need to
Like
stop a player. You just need to slow him down
perfect.
enough
exactly.
so that your
That's what we're
side
saying.
can win. So
And
that
and
argument
to
about
also
can't stop so you will win is not an argument.
to also buffer your point, Vincent. Remember, in that series, LeBron averaged the most points, rebounds, and assists for both teams.
Mm-hmm.
Still end up take the L. Still end up
Yeah,
take the L. So that's
but
there you are.
LeBron still got his numbers. LeBron
But
still
could
got his
have
But
gotten
numbers.
the
more. But the
argument is
point is,
not.
him could have gotten. He would have gotten much more
Them
if him never
lose.
slowed down. They never.
Yeah.
They minimized what he was doing. So the point is, he's still. You can still minimize what a impact a player have on the game. Even if him get
Absolutely.
100 points, him could not get
Absolutely.
200.
I
Mm.
listen to this as well, Gary. Remember, Kyrie and Kevin Love was out. So when they double LeBron, guess who was shoot the ball? Matthew Dellavedova.
Meladova. What his name? I say
Mm-hmm.
Matt
Deliver do
Deladova.
Yeah.
something like that.
Tris,
Remember?
Tristan Thompson, all
True.
you can live. And I think there was a player. I don't remember his name right now, but there was a player on the Cavaliers that year. He was shooting the same 40% from three. What you're telling me, and they still lose. Like when you put players who are not used to a particular situation in a situation, they'll crumble. And I'm telling you, all them Seth Curry they were not telling about. Teams are going to put them in the pick and roll, and it's going to be barbecue chicken each and every day. But Vincent, back to you now. You were telling me that the Nets won the trade. You were so happy the Nets won the trade. And I'm looking at it and I'm saying, well, Ben Simmons is out. So now Ben Simmons.
Definitely.
So now Ben Simmons is now playing the role that he played on Philadelphia without the noise. But no, Philadelphia have somebody who is actually playing, averaging 20 and 10, and is actually contributing. So, do you still think the Nets won the trade? One, and on a scale of 1 to 10, what are your chance? How much chance you give Brooklyn to at least make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, and why?
All right. I don't like when you give half of my argument, because you know why I said For me, Nets win the trade. I believe.
Well, clarify it.
I believe Brooklyn would have gotten better. They would have gotten a shooter from Curry. They would have gotten a big man in the middle, which is Drummond, which they were woefully lacking, despite he might not be able to go out and guard persons on the perimeter, but they were being killed on rebound for most nights. So they would have gotten better in that, as well as, I mean, for me, Ben Simmons just mentally not there. And that's why I would have said, boy, I have an issue with Ben Simmons and his mentality. But that's for another discussion, right? My issue with Harden is not the regular season. We know what he's going to do in the regular season, and it is postseason. So I believe Philly would have given up too much for a player that has not stepped up in a very big way in the postseason. I believe that was too much. I believe a straight up swap is what they should have done. Me personally believe that. But the teams did what they did. So based upon that, I would have said, boy, even without Ben playing this year, that I believe that Nets would have win this trade. Let me see what Harden do in the postseason. And then, like you said, Kems, when you get new information, you reserve the right to change your mind. Then I will invoke that that sentiment
That's
at the
fair.
time, right?
That's fair. That's absolutely fair.
But for me, it is just Ben Harden and what he does in the postseason and in big games, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
Back to the Nets overall. I hear this talk about these two players, and they are phenomenal players, great player. KD is well on his way to becoming probably the top 3 or 4 small forward we probably have ever seen play the game, right? Having said that, haven't we seen KD fail in the postseason on numerous occasions when he was playing?
Yep.
And yes, we can bring up Westbrook name as much as we want and say who he was.
Okay,
They were
see.
up 3-1. They were
This
3-1 against Golden State. That team that won 73 games. And you understand? We have seen
Hold on there.
KD.
Hold on there, Vinny.
Mhm.
Hold on there, Vinny. We think careful. All right, you're good now. It was a little bit couldn't really see,
Sorry,
but
right?
echo.
yeah.
And we have seen that team, those two players, Kyrie in Boston. The thing about Kyrie is that Kyrie will shoot. He's going to score. KD is going to score. But have we seen both of them be great facilitators and running a team? The other night, KD was pretty much running the team when they were playing Memphis. By the time he got into the fourth quarter, you could see that him start to run out of steam somewhat. I was looking at the game, watching how him playing, and that running of the team. KD has always been on team where he's not necessarily the person running the team like a LeBron James would do. Right, so that is going to be new for him going into the postseason in terms of what.
Nah, go be new. I'm not
He
running the
won't,
team last
he
year.
won't
I'm
need
not
to.
running the team.
Vinny,
Devin,
the only reason,
the biggest
the only
point though,
reason,
the biggest point
sir?
though is the point that Devin make. Defense. This is where more than anything else I have a problem with Nets team. I was looking at the Nets team and I remember I did it and I was telling Cream about it a couple months back. I think it was last year I was looking at them when they got Harden, you understand? And where they were ranked defensively. And they were weird down at about 20-something, 27th. And I looked at
26,
all
I
the
think.
all the teams that have won the head. No team, I believe, below 10 in defense would have won the NBA championship. And I remember at the time I was saying I really would have wanted to see all of them being fit to see if they could have changed that trend. You understand? And even this year, even with Drummond, and as I said, Devin put it quite right. We see both of them will score 70 points, but can they stop the next team from scoring? If a team decides to slow down one of them, yeah.
Vinny, I have a question. Chris Lynch has a question for you. He's saying, Vinny, if you question KD and Kyrie in the postseason, you don't know these two great players. What say you?
If you question them, of course I can question both of them in the postseason. Remember Kyrie would have left LeBron James and went to Boston. What did he do? We would have seen Kevin with OKC. What did he do? He left and joined a great a team that facilitated his play quite well in Golden State. Last year he came back. I admit it was him alone. You understand? But of
Beat
course,
that
we can,
vid.
what you mean we cannot question them?
Beat that vid.
Let me answer.
Beat
Let
that
me
vid.
answer. Let me answer.
Go on, jump
Brother,
in.
All right,
hold
go
on
on.
here.
You
Hold
go.
on.
Yeah, I
You
want
go.
to
Go
jump
ahead,
into this.
allow you,
This
Gary.
thing about KD, you see what LeBron has been asked to do his entire career, and people know that I'm a LeBron hater. KD has never been asked to do that. The other night, KD said it out of his own mouth. They played Dallas. I don't think you guys remember, those who short-term memory, right? When they played Dallas and Kyrie was out, they kept
Yeah.
trapping in at the top, trapping him. And
Yeah.
in the post-game press conference, KD said out of his mouth, he has never seen this before. When he gets the ball, they pick him up at the top. They keep trapping him. Right?
Yeah.
And he said what? They're desperate for a win. He's never had these kind of things to deal with in his career. He's always had somebody to run the offense, facilitate the offense, get the rebounds. He's always been the one to just score, to hoop, to put the ball in the back of the net. The assists, the rebounds, facilitating the offense. When he was at OKC, he had Draymond Green facilitating the offense. He had Steph Curry, was always around great players. When Kyrie's out and he's asked to do too much, he burns out because it is not his natural game. Him said it all time out. Guys, we don't need to go around the thing.
But
We have seen it. So people asking like KD is playing this style his whole career. He's not been asked to do this before.
No.
So it's new to him. It's really new to him, and he's adapting, and he's not, it is something that he has to cope with. So that's my thing. KD has never been asked to do this.
Beat them, Gary. Beat them.
Yeah,
Gary,
come on, guys. We watch basketball. We need for this.
But we
Yes, go ahead.
we have also seen him do it. We have also seen him do it last year in a game 6 when he scored the 49 points and added like 10 assists or so.
Not consistently though. I'm not saying him can't do it for 1 or 2 games, guys. But you can't expect KD to play a whole playoffs postseason doing that because it's going to take a toll on him. I'm not saying he can't play it, but it's not going to. It is not his natural game. His game is not surrounded around that. So he can play it for 1 series, but playing 2-3 playoff series with that, it's going to come back to
agree.
So we don't. The Kyrie situation is very important. You can't ask KD because we saw it last year, and we realized this year, even in the regular season. And then when you have the 7-game series and you have 4 games, a team can zone. It's not like a 1 game, A team can actually make adjustments. Them can actually zone in on KD. As Kem said, listen, when them start zoning on KD, this Seth Curry, you can't expect Seth Curry to drop 30 points 4 games or 3 games.
He doesn't need 30. You saw the series them last year against Milwaukee. It was a grueling series. Tucker, one of the best defenders on KD. He make KD fight like a literal NFL. Them wanna play.
Rubbish.
And still getting bucket.
Rubbish.
And
That is
the
rubbish.
shots that Joe Harris got for send home Milwaukee, he ended up missing them, Joe Harris. So those shots now will be falling to Seth and will be falling to Patty. So those 2 men now are going to benefit from the attention.
I trust Seth and Patty in a full 7-game series to actually make shots all the time.
Well, all right. Why we have
Patty especially is a champion, of course. Patty is a champion. Of course, I trust Patty.
Boy, and the desperate way for not trust Patty Mills.
Let me hear Devin.
Why we keep going to Patty and Seth when teammates are important. Now we're saying we're holding the conditions that Kyrie is fit and KD is there, right? Which Kyrie wasn't around in the last year. He wasn't fit. Yeah? Now he's fit. You can't double Kyrie and then double KD.
Exactly.
Man, I go walk to the basket. So even the trap, like you're saying, they can trap KD. Kyrie will be open. So it's like we're saying, like they can't stop these 2 players and then somebody else will beat them. You can probably control one of them.
What they are saying that they would rather.
We keep going back to when we go to Golden State, all right, and then we judging, we ignoring what he did last year.
But Devin,
no, hold on, Gary, hold on.
Come on,
let me show you something. So last year, right? The same last year, one a rave boat and a jump boat and a one and a beat up on a sailboat.
He was the man.
So he had no other choice to be the man. But hold on, no? So Brooklyn Nets averaged 104 points in that series against the Bucks, right? And out of that 104 points, KD scored 35. Right? So let us be fair now. Let us not act like Blake Griffin wasn't big in that playoff series. If we don't watch a playoff series, if no man, we don't know how to make up on the face. But if we don't watch a playoff series, let us not act like Blake Griffin wasn't huge. Just as I'm not saying he was as big as KD, but he was huge in that playoff series.
Yeah.
This notion about I see Chris Lynch in the comment section talking about the Brooklyn he brought them to game 7 against the champions. We all know how basketball works, Chris Lynch. As you move on in the playoffs, your team gets better. You know, if Milwaukee in the finals had bucked that Milwaukee team in the finals, if that was a team KD had bucked, it would have been a 4-0 sweep. It would have been a 4-0 sweep.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
What do you mean?
You mean hold on. You mean Buck KD alone, or KD and Kyrie with Harden?
The same team that played. The same team that played against Bucks in the Eastern Conference semis. I am saying when Bucks made it to the finals against the Phoenix Suns, if KD had buck up against that team, KD would have been swept.
You can't reason that for that. So when they buck them up, they struggle to beat them. That's why you have to reason and look at this struggle to beat them.
If
they struggle to beat them with all their players, and it was
let's not deal with the if argument.
KD alone was the main man, and they had all their big guns. All 3 big guns right there. KD was the main man, and they struggled to beat them.
Brooklyn, sorry about Brooklyn. Before Kyrie went down, they were getting blown out. Milwaukee was getting blown out of the building, out of the series. What are you talking about?
The issue though is, I believe the main issue or the main point has to be the one where Devin put on the table, which is defensively.
Yeah.
If Milwaukee cannot stop team, they will not make the NBA Finals, and I doubt they'll make the Eastern Conference Finals. You understand? Defense is where I believe they're going to have the biggest problem. You understand?
Alright, so we need to.
There's a team named Boston that is number one defensive team.
No, Vinny,
come on, guys.
Vinny,
come on.
So Vinny,
Right.
this is how you're killing the argument. You come forward and you talk about what happened in the postseason. I've watched Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum fail time and time again in the postseason.
I'm not saying that Boston will beat them. You know, you understand, because you are correct. And later on, when you talk about sleeper team, I probably mention a little bit about Boston, which is going to be dependent upon can Jaylen Brown and Tatum really make that major step forward. I'm just talking about defensively in terms of what they can throw at the net. I don't believe that there's any other team in the East can throw as much at the net. You understand? And as Devin said,
Milwaukee,
the Nets will score. There's no doubt about that, because I am not saying that KD and Kyrie can stop them. They are probably going to get about 70-75 points a game. You understand? But can they stop the next team? When they slow them down just a little bit, you just need to slow them down a little bit, will they be able to stop the next team? And that is what is going to be a problem that we need to see if the Nets can do. And that's where I will look at the Nets come when named it.
Well, they couldn't stop Memphis without Josh, so your guess is as good as mine. But we're
oh
moving
my
on
goodness,
right
one game, yeah, man.
It's a team sport. Kyrie and KD scoring 80. They have to score 120 every night. Remember, the team is very short. The team is not deep.
Gary. So. All right, we don't want to start another sub-argument right now. We're moving on. We have to go. All right, so now we want to talk about the Golden State. I don't know even what to call them. And Gary, I'm going to start with you right now.
Mm-hmm.
The Golden State in their last 4 games, they are 1-3, right? And you guys and the only game they have won was against the Miami Heat, and there was no Steph Curry because he's hurt, no Klay Thompson, no Draymond Green. Obviously, Iguodala is still out, and all those guys, and they won against Miami. Now, looking at the standings, They're in third place. Utah is right there in fourth. Dallas is right there in fifth. Now, when we look, do you think that the Golden State Warriors will remain in third place, or do you think that hey, this is it?
Oh, that's for me.
Or do you think that they will slide down the table? Because for me, in my dream, I want them to finish fourth to play against Dallas in the first round. That's what I want, because I want a first round knockout. But when you look at it, Gary, what do you
Yeah.
see about this Warriors team? Are you worried? This evening
Yeah,
I'm talking to you. Are you worried?
I am concerned, overly concerned. I wouldn't really go to worried, but I'm really overly concerned. We know they are free fall in the last, month or so, or even prior to that. The other day they beat Miami. I would know that's more of a function of Miami imploding over the last few games, because they didn't have Steph, Draymond, and Clay. So that was a win that we can't read too much into. That's more on Miami. But I'm looking at the team. I don't know if their schedule. I didn't check their schedule to see how easy it is. But I think based on what I'm seeing, they have not looked organized. Defensively, they have struggled. Steph, we know, still is having not a very good, last few months. He has been shooting very poorly over the last almost 2 months plus. Draymond has been back, but the team doesn't look very, very sharp, and they're struggling. So I think they could fall to about fourth. But I wouldn't be surprised if they can't hold on to that third place, because at one point in the season, early January, probably late December, they were probably at two to 4 games behind Phoenix, and they have really free fall, where Memphis has taken over from them the second place, and Utah is catching up. So I think they will the fourth. I think they can hold on to that third spot, but wouldn't be surprised if they end up fourth. But they're not playing very well. I don't like what the team is doing.
All right. And let me go to the man who, every time I bring up Golden State, him like to say, oh, no watch nothing, man. No watch nothing, man. Them still come around. But, when Steph Curry went down, I think they were 5 games there in Memphis, and now they're around 9, 10 games there in Memphis. I mean, not Memphis, they are in Phoenix.
Phoenix,
So it's not looking good. It's not looking good at all for the Warriors. But let me
12
know,
games
Vincent.
actually.
Let me know, Vincent. You're Warriors right now. What can we expect from the team?
You are correct. You know that I've always been staunch, and you can see that I am stuttering at the moment. The truth is, I don't think it is looking good for the Warriors at the moment. Defensively, offensively, the team just look really out. You understand? Curry is out and will come back. They said for the postseason. I remember in 2016 when he came back for the postseason, you could see what happened. He wasn't the same, even though I think he had won unanimous MVP. That year he just wasn't the same. Still put up numbers, but didn't have the same impact. Sometimes that eye test when you watch a basketball, you can see a player with impact. They can put up the numbers, but you can see if it is impactful numbers. Didn't have the impact. When you look at their defense, Iggy is out. Iggy is a major part for them where defense is concerned.
Iggy?
Yeah, man. When they were playing good in
What
hold a
man,
minute, no,
Iggy?
man. When they were playing,
Oh.
hold a minute, no, man. Just calm yourself, no, bro.
Ooh.
Calm. You understand? No, in terms of as a team. Hold a minute, no, Kems. Calm yourself down, no, man. You and Devin calm on yourself down.
Yo, man, I've got to drink some water, so.
Drink some water.
To Gary.
No, all right. I am talking about team defense, right? Iggy is a part of the team defense that they use, and if you go back and watch the earlier part of the season when they were making noise, I am not just talking off my head. I am telling you what was happening then. You understand? Iggy was playing about 20 minutes a night, especially in those fourth quarters. You understand? Because him allowed them to switch. Gary Payton was playing good defensively as well. Draymond Green was playing good defensive. The team looked good. Now the team just look totally out of sort and out of sync. Teams are putting up numbers on them. You understand? They are not looking like the defensive team like we know them to be. And I am not sure that it is something that they are going to fix before the playoff or in the playoff. That is just me speaking as I look at the team. You understand?
How they're going to fix it? How they're going to fix it, Vincent? How they're going to fix it when teams are just clearly better? Phoenix is just better. Memphis right now is just better. I think even Dallas right now is better.
But Kems, earlier in the season when they were playing as one and the defense was playing well, we would have seen them beat Phoenix twice.
Listen,
so we know
early,
that they could
Vincent,
the team is just
early
even with Clay that we said coming back, and I remember I said it, he has been out for almost 2 years. Yes, him come back. Some night him have a great game. He had a great game against Lakers, then you see him fall off again. Because game shape is something totally different from training. You understand? So
Gary,
I don't think the team is where it was.
Not Gary.
I don't.
Vincent, listen. Yeah. Vincent, hear me out. At the start of the season, the same time you were talking about, Luka Doncic, that man was averaging like 18 points a game. Right now, he's averaging 28 points a game. It's an 82-game season. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So when we see now kick up on yourself, Gary Payton too. He might have big. Oh God, Andre Iguodala. Oh boy, this Warriors team.
The man them get injured. Kems, don't talk as if the man Gary Payton has been out for quite a number of games. We haven't seen Iggy since January thereabout. So don't make it. The man them have been injured, Kems. So the team in terms of the teams.
Man gone back to Iggy, brother. Like
Draymond
this is like
was out for almost 27 games. This is like when I tell me about wait till Wiseman come back. Wiseman is going to stabilize the pain. No man, and you know they didn't have a Wiseman not coming back any at all. Not any at all. Man, them shut him down. Yeah, them shut him down. You understand?
All right, so
and the fact that they can't hold the middle. Devin, you're not going to go the Iggy thing, don't?
No, but one of the problem with Golden State is they're a fake all-star, right?
Okay.
And that fake all-star was
Wiggins their pressure. Wiggins their pressure.
You mean the one that Devin, you mean the one that Kems posts every game now?
Right. And now when the real pressure come, him just lost. You know what I mean? And this team, even though with their shooters, there used to be some good defensive team, right? Orlando Magics. And I've been watching some these press conferences are very interesting these days. Draymond Green, I can see why that man really have a role in TV. The man straight up said at the press conference, no disrespect to Orlando, but we just lost to the Magic. Straight up at the press conference. Yeah. That was just like rude. And when we look at it, Kems, Orlando give up 50 points to, no disrespect to Sadiq Bey from the Pistons, right? Kyrie go and drop 60 on them in 3 quarters, and the big Golden State Warriors could only score 90 points on them.
True. Absolute joke.
That's a joke thing. That's a joke thing.
Like I don't want to hear about. Listen, and as Chris Lynch is saying, not even the coach mentioned Iggy since he been out. They're not missing nothing in Iggy. Absolutely.
They don't want to video with Iggy.
The only thing Iggy do. Listen, what other Vincent
is a good player for the Warriors, you know.
No man.
Vinny.
Him best days behind him. Come on, Vinny. I reach for try them.
One thing I say, such man. I know a such man, right? Such man. We know him quiet, and he really want unpause himself and put himself on the camera and say something, but in quiet, he probably have a tape over his mouth. Now call him such man.
So listen, in the interest of time, right?
Jump in here, producer.
In the interest of time, we're gonna move on, Mas, because there's almost an hour we're going on.
I don't take call out so easy now. I'm here, Devin.
I'm not calling him.
Season this carry over for JSW. Now, like, because Steph gone down, the team just look out and starts defensively. So that's it.
Really?
Nothing else than that.
That's it. I like that. All right. So I want to know. I'm just going to go around, and I want to know you guys. I want to know who is your sleeper team in the East and the West. And when I say sleeper team, a team that nobody's really talking about them, but you know, in the playoffs, they can really make some noise and probably even go on to win this thing. So let me start with you, Cream. In the East, and Brooklyn is not a sleeper team, boss. So
Yeah.
don't come tell me about them, Brooklyn.
They are a 8 seed, so you can't we call it 8 seed team.
Yeah,
Bro, don't
call
tell me
him out
about that.
from now. You know
But
see
no,
him.
in I East, I'd probably have to go with Boston as my sleeper team to
All
come
right.
out the East,
And the
and in
West?
and the West, Dallas.
Dallas. All right. All right. Vincent,
Mm-hmm.
who is the sleeper team
Um,
in the East and the West?
Boston, as I say, my sleeper team in the East. I've been watching them. They have been quietly putting something together since the All-Star break, and they are going to be a tough fight for a number of teams. As we said, the only concern is Jalen Browns and Jason Tatum in terms of what we have seen them do in the playoffs, as we talk about playoffs, and if they can come good, especially Tatum. If he, for me, Jason Tatum just needs to be more consistent. That's the problem I have with him. I don't think he's a consistent player. But if they can come good, they are the sleeper. For me, I mean, you guys are not gonna say they are the sleeper, but because I didn't see them at the beginning of the season and I have been watching them and seeing what they have been doing now, for me it is Memphis. That Memphis team is going to be a hell of a team to get out. A hell of a team to get out.
All right. Definitely. Definitely. And Chris Lynch is agreeing with you. He's saying Boston and Memphis. Devin, who is the sleeper team in the East?
Oh, definitely Boston. Boston. I know the argument you say about Boston in the playoffs, so they just got to prove it. But for me, is their defense. You know, they have some guys playing good in defense. Williams playing good in defense. Marcus Smart playing good, and you know, from Smart call out them guys, man, them start playing good basketball. And I find a little stat real quick here, Kems, where they say about in you see the first 47 game, they're like 21st in the NBA in ball movement, where translate to assists. Since the last 27 games, I think they're 23 out of the last 27. They're in the top 5. So you know those two guys, Tatum and what name Brown. They like the ISO thing and dribble and shoot, but now they're moving the ball more and it's benefiting the team. In the West, it's definitely like now I know people say about Memphis, but Memphis and Phoenix is a name they talk. I like people even stop. Some of these experts stop talking about Golden State. Like you know, like Levon give up. A lot of people give up on them. So I'm not even gonna put Memphis near as a sleeper. I'm going with Dallas definitely.
Dallas.
Yeah, because Lucas Doncic and then the guy where Nets, what that was at Nets did Spencer.
Dinwiddie.
He's playing good.
Dinwiddie.
Yeah, he's
At
playing good.
Washington.
Yeah, he's playing
In
good.
fact, they say since the trade, Dallas have been playing the
So,
best. They have gotten the best out of the trade since
yeah,
the trade
yeah.
deadline.
Brother, like
With
Mr. Fran, you
Dinwiddie.
give up Porzingis, brother. That's it, because that man.
Who is playing well in Washington?
Yeah, but he's not playing long.
No, well is relevant. Well is relevant. You're on a bad team, it's gonna look like you're playing well. Well is relevant.
Careful how
Gary,
you say
the
that,
sleeper team
Yeah.
in the East and West.
Yeah, my two teams, I would have to say in the East, I concur with everybody. Boston, since the All-Star break, they have been a tier at Dallas. They and Dallas have had the best record in the NBA since the All-Star break. They have been, stout defensively. Jalen Brown is playing out of his mind. He's been on a tier, scoring a lot of points. So I like Boston to really make some noise in the playoffs. Over by the West, I'm looking at I wouldn't even say Memphis because people are they are second, they're being talked about. So I'd say Dallas. I like how
Dallas.
the second
Right.
half, yes, of the season, how Luka Doncic has come on, at the start of the season, he was kind of out of shape. He started, picking up his game coming into season, start working on his fitness, 28 points, as Kim said. per game now, and he's playing well. Dinwiddie is you guys have mentioned him since he's come over. He's really been playing out of his mind. He had 2 game-winning shots, I think, recently, one over Brooklyn, and before he had a buzzer beater. I don't think it was a buzzer beater. It was the last shot though, but it was about 4 seconds. But he has been playing really, really well. So I really like Dallas. In the West as a sleeper team.
All right, so I'm sure this is VJ because he's a Lexus guy. So I'm sure that's VJ. There you go. So he's basically saying that the panel did doubt his side on a laugh and said him not make playoffs. Hey. And again, this was one of the things. This was one of the things that Vinny spoke about, where him say, "Oh, Golden State was playing good defense. Same thing with Boston, they were horrible starting out, and then that win that they had against Golden State, they beat them. I think it was 101-86. They blew them out. From that game, Boston don't look back from that game. All right, but really quickly, before we go, the last thing we're going to talk about is I want to get you guys. Devin had to run. He has to get to work. But the last thing I want to talk about is I want to get you guys defensive player of the year. Who you think going to be the defensive player of the year? Who you think is going to win the scoring title? And how about MVP? I just wanted to tell me the names. So I'll start with you, Cream. Go ahead.
Defensive player of the year. I think it's gonna be between Marcus Smart and probably Giannis.
Marcus who?
Marcus Smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, sleeping on the man defense, man. So continue sleeping.
Marcus Smart?
Yeah, youth.
Marcus Smart is not even in the top 5 right now. Miles, Miles Bridges. You know what? All right, sorry. I hear. Tell me who it is for you.
He said scoring title. Probably LeBron. LeBron won the scoring title and MVP. Yes, I do. MVP.
Yeah, I'm saying MVP.
MVP. I'm gonna go with Embiid.
Okay. All right. In jump off, so let me jump in with mine.
Come on, Vinny, go ahead. Your pick.
Yeah, so let me jump in with my pick. For the defensive player of the year, I am really rooting for Jaren Jackson Jr. From Memphis. He's leading the leagues in blocks per game. He has the best field goal percentage against opponents at and around the rim. He's allowing just 49.3% opponents against him at the rim. His team, and he's one of the main reasons why Memphis is doing so well as in terms of what they are doing. So, I was watching the game the other night with them and the Nets, and he was even out there because sometimes he played the forward and he was guarding Kevin to KD and moving with him and sticking close by him. You understand? I'm really hoping that I know that sometimes the voters in terms of these players who are new coming in, I know sometimes them like to go with who is playing well. Gobert is not playing bad, even though he has missed some games. I believe Bam would have been a good choice, but he has been out for too long. Draymond out too long, so I'm really have Jaren Jackson as one.
All right, scoring champion. Who's the scoring?
I believe LeBron will get him second scoring championship. Which is surprising that is only 2 him have. But anyway, he should get that. And Embiid as the MVP. I believe as long as Philly win out, Embiid is gonna get that MVP.
Hola. So Cream, who? Because I got cut off. Who is the MVP, Cream?
I think
Embiid.
And who is your scoring champion?
Bron.
Oh, I'm gonna run off for the Joker trade. Joker is all the way in 7th right now. That can't get MVP, brother. Yeah, playing can't get MVP. Gary, go ahead.
Yeah. All right. Defensive player of the year. Like there are some good candidates, but I would it for me it's between the guy from Memphis, Jaren Jackson Jr. and Giannis. I think the other candidates, Bam and Gobert but missed a few games. So I'm looking between the two. I think Giannis had won it a few times and the name is there. I think Giannis. I'm going with Giannis. I'm going with Giannis for Defensive Player of the Year.
Scoring champion.
MVP. I'm looking. The Nets are playing well. I think Embiid. I'm looking at giving it to Embiid. I was thinking Giannis, but the Bucks have not been. They are looking at him as former champion, and the record is not blowing anybody out of the water. So I'd have to go Embiid being the better seed. And for the scoring title, it's between Embiid, Giannis, and LeBron right now. I don't think LeBron will get it. Why? Because no, Kems, look at this. They are fighting for their lives in the playoff, right?
And LeBron has
I think Bron is going to. Remember, he has a knee. He want to push for it, but I think he's gonna rest.
No,
he's gonna miss some games, I think he's gonna miss some games.
He might chase Kyrie, can't put in these games.
He's going to automatically rest if that knee is going to bother.
If you think LeBron don't want the scoring title,
I know he wants it, but I think that father time, him having some. Remember that knee?
I don't think so.
I don't think he's gonna get it.
I think he's going. If he doesn't score, Lakers not going to make that.
Let me show you something about LeBron.
So
LeBron deliberately, I believe LeBron deliberately missed that Philly game because he feel like Philly had a chance to lower him to a certain score. So I'm saying, no, I'm going to just sit out this one. I don't run with my average because it's crucial right now.
Not me.
I don't know. It's between Embiid and Giannis for me. I'm going to go with Giannis.
I see that man scored 2 points when nobody was looking at the basket, with 5 seconds.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I think he might miss some games with that knee. Continue to bother him. So I go with Giannis.
All right. So listen, before we go, right? Definitely want to thank everybody, in the comment section. Thanks everybody for watching. I'll definitely big up to the producer, big up to you guys, big up to Devin who had to go. But really quickly, my MVP has been Embiid from day one, so it will still be Embiid. My scoring champion, my biased scoring champion will be LeBron. Of course, I want him to win it so he can buffer up his resume. Of course,
there's no buffer.
He's a scoring champ. That's good for the resume. But my defensive player of the year, obviously, is Jarrett Jackson Jr. And if it's not him, then it will be Miles Bridges. If it's not him, it will be freaking Rudy Gobert. Or it will be Giannis, but it will never be Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart will never win a defensive player of the year. You must be crazy. But you guys, thank you so much for being here. Tomorrow we have our Males podcast, and we'll definitely tune into that 8 p.m. Jamaica time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys have a great night. Go Duke basketball.
Bless.